Good afternoon and welcome to Premier's inaugural nutrition webinar titled Dietary Fat, Weight Management and Nutrition. My name's James Kleins, guys. I'm a tutor from Premier Training International, and I'm going to be taking you through today's roughly 1 hour seminar. That's me, guys. Terrible photo. I do apologise about that. I've been trying to get them to change it, but they've refused. And any kind of like contact details for me down the bottom, guys. So I'm all over networking. Quite happy to kind of network and stuff. So if you want to kind of ping me an email, find me on Facebook, etc. And it'd be great to kind of chat with you guys. You know, that are kind of like-minded people out there. I work for Premier for a little over 4 years now, guys. I run the nutrition and the first aid courses, and mainly teach like the fitness and the sports therapy and stuff. But certainly, like nutrition is my kind of area that I'm really quite interested in, and doing more kind of like further training in and things like that. So that's me, guys. I've got you for an hour-ish. I'm planning to run up to about 1 o'clock. If we kind of run over a little bit, that's fine. Or kind of run under, you know, it's whatever's kind of game. If you have questions as we go along, guys, I would encourage you just to put them into the question box or the chat box at the bottom, and hopefully what we'll be able to do is just kind of sit and roll through some of those. Okay, and it's literally just you sitting and listening. You can kind of make some notes and stuff, guys, and certainly what I'll do at the end of this session is put all of the questions that we have up, and I'll stick them up onto a blog. Okay, so then we can obviously sit and kind of read through those, and off we go. Okay? And it's just good to see that some of you guys, London, Oman, New York, yeah, that's cool. Okay, guys, so obviously, hopefully you've had an opportunity to just read the aims and objectives, and generally what I want just to spend this hour doing is to give you guys a bit of a better understanding of the kind of things that you can do with your clients in order to help them to lose weight. Okay, and ultimately, like we'll just start off looking at the kind of the trends of overweight and obesity in our country. You're looking at the popular methods that people tend to suffer with. Also, what kind of the problems are with these particular methods that people use, and then hopefully give you guys a kind of a plan going forwards. Okay, with regards to what we can actually do. Okay, so a question for you to ponder then, guys. The number one most popular goal that people come to in a gym. You know, so when you're a PT or fitness instructor, you're sitting there, you do your consultation with them, and you say, right, how can I help you? What do you want? And we're probably gonna guess that their kind of thing is weight loss. Yeah, they're gonna want to tone up, lose weight. And why do we see that that's the case? You know, why is that? You know, definitely the most, you know, the number one kind of most popular kind of answer. And it's ultimately because we are fat. Those are some of the latest statistics that I could find. So from the Health Survey England, so 2011, so 65% of males and 58% of females have a BMI of 25 plus. You know, 60-odd%. That is a lot, isn't it? You know, that means more people are overweight or obese than a normal or ideal weight. Now, yes, it's BMI. Yes, that has its kind of problems. You know, now obviously for the obesity statistics, they also use BMI and waist circumference, so that makes things a little bit easier to do. But you know, there's no getting around the fact that that's big. That's a lot of people. That's a big market, obviously, that we're looking at. So that's obviously the popular kind of thing that people are talking about. So it's probably no wonder then that we spend a lot of our time helping people lose weight, or you know, lose fat, as we're more kind of attuned to getting them to do. So I was thinking, what are the most popular methods that people tend to use to lose weight or lose fat? Low fat diets, I think, would probably be be the number one. High volumes of steady state CV, so basically LSD training, so slow fat burning runs, rows, swims, that type of thing. And also calorie restriction, and whether that is full-blown kind of calorie counting or just general kind of calorie restriction. So I think most of you would agree with me that these are like the top three methods. Certainly some of the most popular methods that are out there with how people kind of try and lose weight, lose fat. So I want to look at just each of these and just see if they are as beneficial, as ideal is what people obviously believe. So we're talking about low fat, guys. So low fat diets without calorie restriction have been shown to be the number one effort that people used in an attempt to lose weight. There was a survey that they did on quite a few people in America in the late 90s, and they said that the people that took the survey, like 70% of people were looking to manage or maintain their weight. 70% of people, and when they basically were asked to do what, tick a box and basically say what you do, the 35% of males, 40% of females just tick I just cut the fat out of the diet, but not really anything else. So low fat diets without calorie restriction are the most popular method of weight loss. Okay, so if you didn't know that, you do now. And the general idea, the reason why people go kind of lower fat is about trying to remove the energy, a dense kind of source. So fat has 9 calories a gram, 9 calories per gram, of kind of calories in it. So the idea is you take the fat out, you take out the largest kind of energy source that's out there. And the general idea is that if your calorie expenditure is lower than your intake, then you're going to lose weight, which we obviously have maybe have some problems with. This unfortunately ignores the fact, guys, that low fat diets are bad for our health. And again, a lot of people might kind of disagree with that and say, oh, no, low fat is good for you. Guys, this is not true. If you talk to most people that have even a basic understanding of nutrition, if you ask them a question, are fats good or bad? Are fats bad, true or false? And most people are going to go false. Fats are not inherently bad. Where we're going with this is obviously the argument is around what types of fat are good and what types of fat are bad. Okay, and I think most people would probably agree with that. There are so-called good fats and bad fats. The animal kind of saturated fat is what we term to be as considered to be more bad. That's what Vance and carry through there. And the mono and polyunsaturated to be the plant-based and tend to be the good fats. Now, hopefully you will look at that and just go, oh my God, that is such an oversimplification. It just almost to the point of it being wrong. To say that animal fat is saturated and plant is mono, polyunsaturated stuff, that these things are good and these things are bad, that there are so obvious deviations from the norm here. Take coconut oil. Coconut oil being, one of the most saturated fats on the planet, and it's a plant kind of oil, tropical oil. Lard, for example, most people don't know, even though it is an animal fat, and people go, hey, lard, yeah, it's a saturated fat, that's bad for you. Whereas actually lard has got more monounsaturated fatty acids in it than it has saturated fatty acids. So you've got to look at that and go, well, hang on, monounsaturated ones are the ones that are good for my heart, aren't they? So yes, lard is therefore good for your heart because it's monounsaturated. So it gets very complicated if we oversimplify things, which is kind of an oxymoron, I suppose, because it just assumes it just plants these, or if it's from an animal, it's bad. If it's from a plant, it's good. And that can't be the case, guys. What about hydrogenated oil that they use in margarines? That's a plant, but we hydrogenate it, and it's got horrendous amounts of trans fats and free radicals and things in it, but that means it's good for us. I mean, come on, that's just not right, is it? So, you know, to simplify it that way, or just even to simplify that low fat is wrong. Take a look at this, guys. These are some of the functions that fats have in the body, so lipids have in the body, and I pulled this from our level 3 nutrition manual. Okay, so this is basic stuff. And as soon as I'm saying to someone, oh, we need to look at you know, getting you off of a low-fat diet, putting you on a high-fat diet, you know, and they start saying, oh, sorry, a higher fat diet, you know, and you get that kind of resistance. You go, oh, no, but they're really bad for you, and it's going to make me fat. And, you know, you've got to begin to try to break these walls down. And these are just some of the things that I look at, you know, and I talk to people about, you know, to say that, you know, almost every cell in your body has fat as part of the membrane. You know, it is a phospholipid membrane. You know, and actually quite a large percentage of that fat in humans is saturated fat. So the, you know, and the idea is that, you know, if you have a low fat diet, then you're going to be eventually use up stores of your you know, vitamin A, D, E, and K and stuff, and especially if you're not eating, you know, good quality sources of that, you know, then you know, you deplete vitamin A out of your liver and stuff, and that can make you pretty damn poorly. So, you know, there's so many reasons as to why we need to be having fats in our diet that I don't think most people now would kind of disagree with that if they have an understanding of nutrition. Like we said, the argument it stems around from which is good and which is bad. Now, I've tried to really simplify this, guys. So I know we've obviously been slagging off simplifications, but I think you hopefully you might agree with me with this. Trans fats, generally accepted, are bad. Okay, so man-made trans fats are generally accepted as being bad. I've never read anything or spoke to anyone that have really disagreed with that statement. Okay, it's generally accepted that unprocessed mono and polyunsaturates are good. Okay, so unprocessed, so, you know, not messed about with, in an olive, in fish, you know, in veg, in fruit, you know, those types of things are generally accepted to be good and to be essential for health. Obviously, if we process them, so if we get, you know, veg oil, for example, which you don't find on a tree, you know, little bottle dangling from a tree, then clearly that is not unprocessed, and therefore that then loses its ability to become classed as a good oil, a good fat. The main point of conjecture, guys, comes around saturated fat, you know, which is usually called animal fat, but, you know, it's not always the case. Generally, animal fat is a higher source of saturated fat, and this is where we obviously come to a head. So with saturated fat, guys, there's been evidence shown for you know, since the 50s that saturated fat is harmful to health, heart disease, cancers, etc. And, you know, and also helps to build up our fat stores. And that it isn't, you know, everyone would kind of agree with that. You know, that there has been this big old push, certainly since the 50s, that's been the case. However, a lot of people, you know, maybe don't know that there is actually quite a lot of contradictory evidence that that indicates that perhaps that view isn't correct, or certainly, you know, that there is evidence that indicates that it's not as clear cut as saturated fat is bad for our health, that it causes kind of heart disease and things like that. I'm not going to look at loads of studies, guys, but I just want to show you two you know, basic kind of like population studies that do show like obvious oppositions to that. It might interest you to note that the reason why we promote, you know, the kind of eat well plate and all that type of stuff, that it is effectively a lower fat, high carb diet, and all of the research and stuff that came from that was from heart disease, guys. So the reason we're going to look at heart disease just is that is exactly the reason why we told people to cut the saturated fat, push them on polyunsaturated fats up, and generally eat more carbohydrates. It was all from heart disease. You know, it was done in the 50s. There wasn't an obesity problem in the 50s. It's interesting to note that since we've done that, we've developed an obesity problem. Awkward. So this is a chart, guys, that shows you the countries and the percentage of fat that the countries consume. Okay, so let's have a quick scan through that. I've listed basically the top 5 countries: Belgium, France, Germany, Italy, Switzerland, and Spain, being the top 5 countries that basically more fat, or more of the calories from fat than any other country. You know, you got France right at the top. You've got Spain, then Belgium, and so on and so on. And the idea is that these are the countries that have the highest fat consumption in Europe. Okay. These are cities within countries. So this is from a different study, guys, but compared to the same kind of things as the Monaco study that looks at heart disease rates in various cities. You know, if you look at, you can see my mouse cursor ahead, guys. If you look at this left-hand side, you can unfortunately see the UK kind of sitting here, so we don't do too well with this. But look down the bottom end. So you've got Toulouse, Strasbourg, and Lille. These are all French cities, guys. And hence denoted by the blue heart above them. You know, you've got Spanish cities here, you've got Belgium and kind of Italy, and they're basically related to the countries. Yeah, so color coded. So why is it then, if saturated fat is so bad for our heart and causes so much kind of issues with heart disease as the #1 cause, but you know, for most other kind of conditions, why is it that the countries that have the highest kind of saturated fat consumption have some of the lowest rates of heart disease? Interesting, isn't it? This is just one study, guys. You know, I could find about 10 studies that, you know, all kind of population-based ones that show the same thing. And also, a lot of people slag off population studies because obviously there's a lot of variable there. Completely agreed. However, there's lots of people, so you tend to get bigger kind of numbers. But there are also more smaller kind of controlled studies that it shows similar things, guys. You know, it's about contradicting that evidence. So this is about heart disease, guys, and a lot of you have probably sit there going, hang on, you were talking about weight management a minute ago, what have we got into heart disease? Well, remember, that's where these guidelines have actually came from. If you want to look at weight management, guys, then check this out. This was published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, and basically what this shows is that, where's my mouse? So there we go. So you've got percentage of the population that have a BMI of above 25. Okay, so basically overweight or obese. And then you've got along the bottom percentage of calories from fat. And what the authors did with this study is they drew basically a straight line graph, a theoretical trend line, down straight down the centre of this to show, hey, look, you know, is percentage of fat increases in the diet, so too does the BMI. And okay, brilliant, yeah, there is a straight line graph there, but what happens with, you know, these countries in this area? You know, so this is, you know, especially like, let's say, Russia, Saudi, Mauritius, Cuba, Kyrgyzstan. These are all countries that are relatively isocalorific with fat. You know, so it's in and around the 24% margin. Yet they have vastly different rates of people being overweight in their country. How does that work if fat is going to be the kind of the leading kind of drive of that? You know, what about if you look at people that have exactly the same BMI kind of rate? So yeah, pretty much, you know, in between what 30 and kind of 38%. We look at Morocco, Malaysia, and Italy. So they have fairly similar rates of people being overweight, you know, as well as Cuba and Tunisia and places. Yet they have hugely different rates of fat consumption. You know, Italy, you know, does double or sorry, just over double, actually, isn't it? The rate of energy from fat, you know, than does Morocco. Yet they've got very similar BMI rates, but they're doubling their intake. You know, again, it just doesn't make sense. You know, as to kind of point the finger at fat and go, hey, look at these countries with the highest fat consumption. Oh, but they, you know, have, you know, that could be independent of their obesity statistics. And again, guys, you know, the one that isn't on here that really should be is France. You know, because the France, like we said, they have the highest fat consumption in Europe. They also have the highest saturated fat consumption in Europe as well. And do you know what? They eat more calories than anyone else as well, and they do the lowest rates of exercise almost. And they are the leanest, or you know, some of the leanest in Europe. And again, that's something that we talk about in our level 4 obesity diabetes thing, and you just think and they smoke more than anyone, and they drink more alcohol. You know, they do everything wrong, apparently, yet they, you know, have very low rates of obesity and kind of heart disease, high rates of diabetes. But you know, apart from that, so you just got to look at this and just go, you know, people tell me it's like doing the French paradox and that type of stuff. And if it was just France, you could maybe go, well, that's weird. But you know, what about Belgium? You know, what about Switzerland? You know, we all see these same kind of variables through all of these types of countries. You know, so there is obviously more to it than just simple fat in, fat out, etc. So hopefully that those studies maybe just show you an indication that it is certainly not as simple as oh yeah, just lower your kind of fats down and that will help you kind of lose weight. Obviously, one of the main reasons that they reduce fat is from a calorie restriction standpoint, and if we don't calorie restrict them, then maybe we want a calorie burn. So you know, this is another really popular method, which is to do steady state cardiovascular exercise. I'm not going to go too much into this, guys, because this is obviously a nutrition kind of thing. However, obviously, I imagine a lot of us are exercise professionals. You know, I'm primary kind of PT myself. You know, but this is a study that looked at basically low intensity versus moderate intensity exercise. And you're obviously capable of reading that, but one of the things you can kind of take from this, you know, is that in 90 minutes of low intensity, kind of say that obviously the lower intensity, the more fat you oxidize, you know, the higher intensity, the more you shift more towards carbohydrates and glycogen. And obviously they looked at this, and this is one of the reasons why people go, oh, do you have fat burning ones to really burn off your body fat. You know, but if you just do a quick bit of maths with that, guys, and don't worry, I'm not going to get one of you to do that, I've done it for you. 30 grams of fat, you know, is not that much. So if you want to lose, let's say, 1 kilo of body fat, you're going to have to cycle at that pace for 50 hours. So 50 hours of 45, you know, minute, or so 45 minutes, 3 times a week. You're going to have to do that for like 4.8 months to lose 1 kilo. And bearing in mind, if your clients are what, 20% body fat, they've maybe got, well, depending on their weight, let's say they've got anywhere from 10 to 25 kilos of fat on their frame, you know, and probably, you know, that they're actually going to want to shift, get rid of it. So, you know, to do one, you're going to have to do 50 hours of cycling, you know. So if you want to do, like, let's say 20, you know, again, do the maths. Guys, don't tell your clients that, okay, because that won't go well, you know. We see that it is, it's pointless, you know. It won't achieve anything, you know, to do 50 hours. You know, when people look at that and they just kind of go, you know, really, am I actually going to sit there and do that? That's going to get really boring. Is there another way? You know, is there something different that we can do that doesn't involve you basically living at a gym, or, you know, setting a spin bike up in your front room and just sitting on it? Yes, there is. Let's come on to that in a minute. So again, steady state stuff, guys, not particularly effective. What about dietary restriction then? So what about basically cutting your calories? So this is the main reason that we see people cut fat, guys, is from a calorie restriction standpoint. And generally people will do restrict calories. They'll increase their calorific burn by doing exercise activity, or they'll do a combination of both of these. Now, this has a variety of problems, guys, with regards to like kind of calorie counting and stuff. I usually spend about a day talking to my nutrition students about just this stuff that I want to spend about 5 minutes talking to you guys about. So you can appreciate I'm about to skim over this quite a lot. If people want more kind of reading and referencing on this, then there is lots and lots and lots of stuff that you can just do. Just Google problems with calorie counting, and we're going to cover but a few of those things. It's all based upon like thermodynamics. So the idea is that this is the first law of thermodynamics. So the energy of the system is equal to the amount of energy that goes into the system minus the amount of energy that's taken out to run the system. That's a physical law. Okay, and someone told me the other day that you can apply a physical law to a biological system. For some reason, my PowerPoint is crashing, so let's just see what happens there. Don't worry, we can freestyle this, guys, so ignore that. So yeah, you can't apply physical laws to biological systems. That is really true. You know, if you saying that you're going to intake 1,000 calories, that all of those calories are then going to be used as energy, you know, or used as running the system. You know, this is ludicrous. You know, our not designed to intake all of the calories. You know, we're going to get lots of losses, which is what the second law of thermodynamics talks about. So losses inevitably occur. You know, thermodynamics works well with kettles. Yeah, you're not a kettle. It's far more complicated than that. The other thing is well is that this has issues with kind of causality and effect. So the idea is, guys, is that if you let's say this is your body weight, and basically your body weight is equal to the amount of energy that you intake versus the amount of energy that you burn. Well, let's say that all this says is that it's equal to. Okay, it doesn't say that if you eat more food and you don't do exercise, then you get fat. Okay, it just says it's equal to. So you might get fat, and therefore a symptom of obesity is that you have a voracious appetite and you don't do any exercise because you're always knackered all the time. Yeah, we look at symptoms and we see causes. That's like looking at someone with the flu and going, oh wow, yeah, you've got the flu, and you've got the flu because you've got a headache and a fever, and the headache and the fever and the runny nose has caused the flu. That's stupid. What would lead you to that kind of distinction? We see people who are obese and we go, wow, you eat loads of food and you don't exercise enough, therefore that's why you're fat. But actually, you know, maybe they're fat for a different reason, and therefore that's caused them to eat more, and they don't have any energy, so they don't want to do any exercise because they're tired all the time. You know, think about something like insulin resistance, hormone controls, etc. So yeah, thermodynamics really begins to throw that stuff out. You know, a calorie is not a calorie. Okay, a calorie of sugar and a calorie of fat are vastly different in the body. Yes, it's a unit of energy. Yes, it says how much energy is stored in there, but you know, there's hugely different interactions. You know, in that, you know, to say that your body weight, you know, if you've taken 100 calories of fat, you know, that all of those 100 calories of fat is going to go into your body fat stores. What a load of rubbish. You know, fat does loads of things in the body. Protein, you know, you're going to be lucky if you use 15% of your protein for energy. So you know this kind of calorie to calorie is you know, complete rubbish. Aside from the fact that you know you are not a bomb calorimeter, which is this thing. So this is how we use or measure how much calories are in food, and it's basically a vessel surrounded by a litre of water. You set the food on fire in this little vessel here, and then what it does is it measures the amount of energy that is put out into the water to raise that water. And there are issues associated with that because you do not set food on fire in yourself, do you? You know, we don't use food dye, we use enzymes, we use various different processes to obviously break the food down and convert it into energy. And you know, we're going to have lots of losses that occur from that. So this whole kind of calorie thing, aside from the fact that we get calories from our packets, and there's a 20% leeway on packets, if you didn't know that. And the FSA did a study in early 2000, 2002, 2004, and 80% of foods they tested didn't fall within that 20% leeway. So you've got to look at that and just kind of go, wow, we are, you know, we're basing our whole weight loss kind of methods on, you know, something that you know, is on very kind of shaky ground. I think calorie counting is a waste of time. I don't get my clients to calorie count. The other thing as well, guys, is that if calories were so important, then you might assume that you know, as long as you can cut back on the calories, then people are gonna lose weight. And again, it's unfortunate, but it's just not that simple. A lot of people look at our obesity problem now and go, oh, we eat so much more, you know, than we used to, and we don't exercise as much. Guys, that's not true. I sit and talk to people, you know, in my nutrition classes and my clients and stuff, and they go, you know, obesity is not a problem with kind of, you know, carbohydrates and stress and lifestyle and stuff. Obesity is a problem because we eat too much and we don't exercise enough. Obesity statistics between 20 years, between 86 and 2006, over doubled. Calorie consumption dropped. But most people didn't know that. And most people I talk to, they go, really? No, we're eating more now. Well, not according to the science. People then go, wow, okay, well, maybe we're not eating quite as much, but we're definitely not doing as much exercise. You know, we're definitely more sedentary now. Check out 97 to 2006, HSE 2006. This is the percentage of people that hit the 30 minutes of required activity a day set down by the WHO, so the World Health Organization, not the rock band guys. And what they say is that you know, people are more active now than they used to be. So just kind of think about this, guys. We're fatter now, even though we don't eat as much, and we do more exercise as a population. Anyone care to explain how that works? The whole point of this, guys, is that we are, these studies are attempting to demonstrate to you that the obesity and the problems with obesity is not as simple as that we don't eat, you know, that we eat too much and that we don't exercise enough. Okay, it's just trying to show you that it's not as simple as that. Here's one more study, guys, just to show. This is a meta-analysis, so it's like a study of studies. You know, they look at 40 years of scientific research on low-calorie diets, you know, and determine that after 15 weeks, the average calorie, the average weight loss was 11 kilos, so quite significant. That within 1 year, 20–40% of people were unable to maintain that weight loss. So basically, they put the weight back on. And the conclusions were that within 3 to 5 years, almost all people on this who had done a calorie-restricted diet had relapsed. So they put the weight back on. And a good summary of this, guys, is that standard calorie restriction diets and plans, they don't work in the long term. They work short term. You lose weight, yeah? Look at what Miller saw. So, you know, and everyone knows that. You stop eating, you know, you go on a commercial diet, I'm not going to name drop, you go on a commercial diet, you're going to lose weight. But within a couple of years, you're probably going to be heavier than when you first started. Why? I wonder. Wonder why that is. Well, obviously it doesn't work, but, you know, could it be a business model, a business plan? Quite possibly. So just pause for thought, guys. Consider some of the evidence that we just looked at. Consider some of the people that you've worked with in the gyms, at their homes, in studios over the last X number of years, and you put people on, you know, these low-fat, low-calorie diets. You get them to do loads and loads of cardio, you know, steady-state kind of cardio stuff. Do you still be convinced that's the best way to help them to lose weight? Because what I want to do with this seminar, guys, is give you guys some takeaway points that you can use to implement with your clients. It's just something to give you, you know, some food for thought. Pardon the pun. So what are we doing now? Well, we need to look for a more reasonable approach. So we're looking to address these four main kind of areas, guys. So the amount of food that's eaten, the quality of the food, the range of the nutrients, and good, proper exercise that will help to facilitate weight loss. Let's pop all these up so we can chat about them. Just take a quick moment to kind of flick through them, guys. Like I say, you will be able to access this kind of afterwards for notes-wise, but if you were going to write anything down, then I would write that down, or just take a quick screenshot. So don't encourage calorie counting, guys. Okay, I think it's a pointless, a fruitless exercise. It makes people unhealthily fixated on the amount of calories that they're eating and not what they're eating. You know, so it's fine. I can do 1,200 calories from a Big Mac. Brilliant. That's so not what calorie counting is about. You know, we should be looking to use portion sizes to moderate overall energy intake. Okay, we are ensuring that the real quality of proper food is used to hit good levels of nutrients. So the better the quality, the better the nutrients, the better the food is going to be for us. We need to control our clients' blood sugar levels, which means limiting sugar and overall carbohydrate consumption. And where appropriate, we need to do increased levels of CV and resistance training to make sure we can enhance our clients' metabolic rate and all that type of stuff. So if we just look at each one of these just briefly, guys. So calorie counting, yes, the good old kind of eat well plate, how we know and love the good old girl. Factually incorrect, out of date. I think it's not in line with the current research that we're looking at. However, one of the things that I do like about the Eat Well plate is that it does give portion sizes. Okay, and definitely, if people are eating like 4,000, 5,000 calories a day, if that's not, if they aren't using that, if they're sitting on their ass in their office, in their car, at home, then that is going to contribute to their weight gain. Okay, I won't hear any arguments about that, guys. If you eat a litre of Ben & Jerry's cookie dough ice cream, even though it tastes really good, you do that every day, you're going to get fat. Okay, as opposed to, and as well as all the other problems that are associated with that. So don't be so focused on the amount of calories that people are consuming, like, on like 50 here, 50 there. Oh my God, I've had like 20 calories more than what I'm allowed to. I can't eat that bit of the last bite of my banana or something. I'm not interested in that, but I am interested in if people are doing double their calorie consumption that they should be. If they think that 5 bananas in one sitting is a normal portion, that's a lot of sugar kind of in there. So or if they think it's okay to go and eat a 72-ounce steak, I'll be sitting down next to them eating it, but that is not a normal kind of portion. Okay, so encouraging people to do normal kind of portion sizes that are obviously vary from person to person, but in my experience, a lot of people don't know what a normal portion actually is. So I would maybe encourage you just to kind of get that link and kind of have a little look at it, and just make sure your clients are kind of educated with that particular stuff. Real food for real nutrients, guys. I don't know if people have heard of Sean Croxton. He's from Underground Wellness. So I've been getting quite into some of his stuff recently, and some of the stuff he can be a little bit kind of extreme with or whatever. Although I kind of admit I'd agree with most of the stuff he talks about. But one of the things that really grabbed me from him is his jerf. Just jerf, man. Eat real food. Brilliant. Literally, if you want to simplify it and give it to your clients, I think that's what it is. Just eat normal food that comes from normal places, that is a normal diet, okay? As opposed, stuff that is grown, stuff that runs around, stuff that, is you can pick it and you can eat. If you have to do something to it to be able to eat it, like put it together, that is not real, like kind of like man-made. So again, I maybe encourage you to check out some of his stuff. He's got some pretty interesting stuff on there. But go and get yourself a GF t-shirt and they're quite amusing. Organic food, guys. So organic food is organic is a label. It's a certification. It holds certain, especially in the UK, guarantees that you're not allowed GMO. You're not allowed to put chemicals on. You're not allowed kind of dangerous additives and stuff. The animal welfare is paramount. So organic food is great, but it can still be damaged. Yeah, it can still, organic food can still be very bad for you. If it's kind of labelled with organic sugar and organic honey and organic, fructose and that type of stuff doesn't necessarily make it gonna mean it's really good for you. Organic, should give you better quality. It should give you less of the crap in foods that we don't want. You can find food that is not organic, as in organically certified, but is organically grown. Farm shops and greengrocers and butchers and these types of places. Go and talk to those people. Go support your local communities and go and ask them about where they get their food from and how they treat it. Is it well grown? Because the better it's brought up and the better it's grown, likely the more nutrients will be in it. Okay, don't just rely on organic to be, or if it's on the label, if it says it's organic, it must be good for you. You know, organic cookies, you know, could be a good example of that. Okay, they're probably better than non-organic cookies, but still, that shouldn't be the staple of our diet. Fresh is best, guys. I think we probably agree with that. The fresher the food is, the more nutrients it's got in it. The less fresh, then the less nutrients. That's pretty simple. Okay, so fresh fruit, fresh veg, fresh meat, fresh dairy, all that type of stuff. Get it in, you know, and don't let it sit in your fridge for days on end. If you put it out of a packet and a tin, it's likely not to be as good. Okay, and a really nice kind of tip, guys, is carbs, proteins, and fats every single meal, every single snack. Okay, this is really good for satisfying all the gut peptides and satiety kind of hormones and stuff. And literally, I use this this is one of my kind of staple things with everybody. Just get carbs, proteins, and fats at every single meal, every single snack. That way, you hit the majority of those kind of peptides and get good kind of levels of satiety and kind of fullness. Okay, so real food, guys. Third, limit the amount of starchy foods and that people are eating, and significantly reduce the amount of refined sugars. Okay, promote low GI, medium to low GL. Guys, if you're not too up on what glycemic index, glycemic load is, and I would encourage you to Google that. Go to a proper place and do some reading on it, guys, and certainly go to proper places to get your exact GI/GLs and stuff. You know, University of Sydney, Harvard Public School of Health, those places. Get there and have a little look at some of that stuff if you don't have a kind of a good reference point. Generally, you know, I'm not going to go into explaining the ins and outs of GI, but I'll let you guys go and do that if you're not too afraid with it. But you know, if we're doing foods that are really stumping up our blood sugar level for extended periods of time, all that's going to do is just raise that insulin level. Insulin is a fat storing hormone any way you cut it. Okay, and if the insulin levels are up, because your blood sugar level is up, you are in a fat storing state. Simple. The longer you stay in that state for, the more insulin resistance you develop, and then you know, the more, you know, and we know that muscle tissue goes insulin resistant really quickly. Fat tissue doesn't go insulin resistant anywhere near as quick as your muscle cells do. So all that sugar just gets stumped straight into the fat stores, doesn't go into the muscle. You get fat. You haven't got any energy in your muscles, so you don't like doing exercise, and you need to eat lots of food because you don't have any energy. Back to that old cause and effect. Yeah, I'm not for 1 minute advocating a no carb diet. Okay, I don't think we should be putting our clients into a ketogenic kind of state. I don't think that's not going to be healthy for a lot of people. Okay, some people can tolerate it. That's fine. But for most people, that's not going to be a good idea to do. Okay, so eating no carbs is not an option. Okay, what I'm talking about is reducing starchy crap carbs from processed trans fats and all that type of stuff, and limiting the amount of starchy carbs that people are consuming. So the red isn't a food. Bread and pasta are foods. The red's not. So bread, pasta, rice. All those types of things, you know, these really starchy kind of carbohydrates, big high GI, high GL, you know, reduce them down, you know, put them at a very low kind of level. You know, if we want to talk kind of macronutrient contributions, guys, you know, I'd say a minimum kind of 20% carbohydrates. You know, if you drop below that, then most likely you're going to start going ketoacidotic and things. Okay, which again, some people kind of advocate. I personally don't. I'm not convinced that's kind of healthy long term. And remember, guys, this isn't a diet that we're trying to put people on. This is a lifestyle. Okay, and actually, a diet is current eating patterns. Yeah, so the idea is that we're trying to get someone what they can actually eat for the rest of their life. Yeah, not that they can just eat till Christmas. So yeah, blood sugar, guys, and then last one, exercise. Is exercise beneficial for weight loss? Yes, if you do the correct kind of things. Is it healthy? I did pause there because I had to kind of think about how I was going to word that. Is exercise good to keep you healthy? Absolutely, yeah. Crack on, loads of fizz, loads of exercise, you know, all the kind of stuff that we normally promote. Remember though, guys, that obesity is not a problem with a lack of exercise, okay? Obesity is a problem with lifestyle. So the lifestyle needs to be changed, okay? One factor of this is their physical fitness. Right, so we need to make sure that people are physically fit and the good heart, good CV, all that type of stuff. However, exercise is a stress. Okay, stress releases stress hormones. Stress hormones make insulin resistance and things like that worse. Okay, so you know, if all we do is just take a fat person, put them on a treadmill, and run fatty run, and whip them with a stick, you know, all that's going to do is create more kind of problems. You know, and all we see in a few years' time is that they are fatter than they were when we first started with them, and that's not good. So you know, what we need to do is get people doing good levels of kind of intensity as soon as they've got a good conditioning in. You know, we're doing HIIT training, really get that metabolic rate up, raise your kind of excess body consumption rates, you know, get their metabolism going, okay? You know, so through heavier kind of resistance type things, but clearly this needs to be done with people that are conditioned. We can't just take a novice sedentary person in and get them doing 5x5 and kind of hill sprints and stuff. That will not go well, okay? So you know, exercise-wise, you know, I will perhaps disagree with certain people, with you know Barry Groves and rest his soul, and you know Gary Toves, people like that. You know, they say how you don't bother using exercise and stuff. Yeah, I'm not entirely kind of convinced about that. You read a lot of kind of stuff and you know, certainly with like raising kind of metabolic rates and stuff. I wouldn't be talking to people in the session and going, oh wow, yeah, you've burned 500 calories. That's fine, but you know, realistically, if we tell people, if we do a decent session here, you're burning calories for, you know, 12, 18, you know, 24 hours after, you know, you're at that increased kind of calorific burn. You know, which is all going to facilitate kind of weight loss. You know, as well as you know, there's lots of studies that look at HIIT stuff versus steady state. You know, and if I maybe just pick out one from a fat perspective. So Tremblay in 2004, it was a 15-week HIIT versus a 20-week steady state program. The HIIT stuff averaged 15 millimeter reduction in skin fold. All over kind of body stuff, whereas the low intensity averaged 4 millimeters. So again, really kind of significant, you know, kind of stuff there. You know, one other one for you, Trap in 2008 looked at 20 minutes of HIIT stuff versus 40 minutes of steady state across 15 weeks. You know, and the difference in weight loss. You know, body weight, you know, 2.4 kilos for the high intensity, 0.44 kilos for the low intensity. So we see that the HIIT stuff is significantly better from a weight management standpoint, providing the clients are obviously conditioned enough to deal with it. And on a side note of that as well, if you want to, from a health perspective, the high intensity group had 3 times greater improvements in fasting blood glucose levels, insulin levels, all of which is good from a weight management kind of standpoint as well, guys. So yeah, get people doing that kind of HIIT stuff as and when it's appropriate for them. Okay. Well, okay. So 50 minutes in then, guys. So just before we move on any further, I just would like for you to just have a quick flick through, obviously, what we've done. So obviously from a learning outcomes standpoint. So just have a quick read through them. And hopefully what we're looking at is that we've looked at some of these popular methods and we've seen, you know, how while they may be very good for ensuring repeat business and they may work short term, they don't work long term. That's the key point. So, you know, we've looked at those 4 kind of methods of assisting people from a weight management standpoint and trying to give them a bit of a better understanding of exactly what they can do to help kind of facilitate weight loss. Okay, so hopefully that's given you some kind of food for thought, pun. Just something, but just before we go into any kind of Q&A stuff, guys, if we can get the question box working. So some of you guys might have heard of this kind of new drive that Premier Global have been doing, which is called Premier Lifestyle. And the idea is, guys, is that it's a business opportunity for anyone, not just exercise professionals, but can be for any kind of person that wants to kind of franchise out. And the idea is that it's about trying to target the market that are like outside of gyms, you know, so like the 88% of people that do not use a gym in the UK. And the idea is it's about looking at all aspects of kind of lifestyle, not just nutrition, not just activity levels, but all kind of aspects of lifestyle, and hopefully just being able to kind of build up a client base in the market and kind of work with people. And it's basically been wrote by people that work for Premier, and want to be able to try and facilitate a kind of improvement of lifestyle from a population standpoint. So if that's something that maybe interesting, guys, and there's some details down at the bottom, I encourage you to go and have a look at that stuff and to see what your kind of thoughts are. And because I'm knowing a few of my friends are kind of have branched out and done this, and they're pretty happy with some of the results that they're getting, certainly from improvement of their own business standpoint. So that's that, guys. Q&A wise, I can see a few people have been writing down some questions as we go along. We've probably got about kind of 5 or 10 minutes, guys. So I'm going to just try and flick through the questions if I can get them kind of working up a little bit, and then we'll try and maybe take a few of them. Certainly, if I don't get round to any of them, guys, if there's one or two in there that you've kind of put in, what I'll do is we'll get a link going, basically a blog going of all of the questions, and I'll sit and just go through and just answer all of them, and I'll put them up on the blog with a few recommended reading kind of things if people are interested in that. And then what you can do is you can obviously sit and kind of read through that. The other thing as well, guys, is if any of this stuff, we've obviously had about just under an hour to roll through some of this stuff, and realistically, we could take days to be talking over these kind of areas. So if some of this stuff is new, or if you want a bit more kind of information on it, then I'll give you some recommended reading books that I've just read that I think are really good. But also looking at there's two courses that we do. One of the Advanced Nutrition Weight Management, which is basically a one-day non-certificated course, so you just turn up and learn. Which is really good. I've just recently reread this, so it's something really improved, if you like. But also we run the level 4 obesity diabetes course as well. So if anybody isn't a level 4 yet, if you're interested in kind of going there, if you want to work with obesity diabetic people and obviously help and in an attempt to stem the kind of tide, then the type of information that we talked about here is exactly the type of info that we look at with regards to on that course. Okay, so that's that stuff, guys, and obviously we're going to try and do a few more webinars. So I'm quite interested in maybe trying to do one a month, every other month or something on just slightly different subjects and stuff. So definitely watch this space, because we'll be getting a lot of these kind of going out, and hopefully you should find that. Okay. Just going to try and flick through a couple of question boxes that people might be asking. I can't really see the whole kind of box, which is a bit of a pain. So I think Freddie's asking about if we can get a copy of the presentation wise, and I don't think that should be a problem. Wise, I think what we'll do is we'll put we're going to just put a recording up of this on the blog, so yeah, you'd be able to access that at any point, buddy. And again, what you can do is you can just mute it, so you don't have to hear my stupid Bristolian accent going all over the place. So James has asked about BMI. BMI is yeah, it's not a great kind of thing. I think we would all agree with that, guys. I know a lot of people that don't even use BMI, that they just kind of, just because it's not obviously going to be relevant to people that are on the extremes. I think one thing that is worth just considering, guys, is that with BMI, it is what we use, for all of our statistics and all our obesity statistics and everything like that comes from BMI, and it is an easy kind of way of doing it. You can work out someone's BMI very quickly if you try and do skin fold measurements with 100,000 people. That's not different. So yeah, I'd be definitely BMI is taken with a pinch of salt. I think for a normal kind of average person, BMI is it is probably more accurate, or is more accurate than for really fit sports people. It's interesting, like England rugby team, almost all of them are obese. If you look at BMI, so bodybuilders when they're on stage at 3-4% body fat, are morbidly obese. So again, yeah, it's taken with a pinch of salt. I think we should definitely be encouraging people to do more skin fold testing, circumferential measurements, that type of stuff. Bioimpedance kind of machines and stuff. Then we should be focusing on weight. I think that's definitely a better kind of factor. I hope that answers your question. I'm just flicking through one or two more. This is about slides. Are chip shops bad? Well, again, they're probably not the best choice from a food perspective, isn't there? I think if you, I really like fish and chips. If you're eating it all the time, then that's probably gonna have impacts. But I know that there used to be a butcher near where I live in Bradford upon Avon, and he used to do fish and chips, but he used to cook the organic fish, organic kind of butter, and organic potatoes, and make all his kind of own stuff. It was a butcher / kind of cafe thing, and he would deep fry his stuff in goose fat, or like a saturated fat, to obviously protect from like kind of oil rancidity and stuff. And it was all kind of like organic and kind of like good quality and stuff. So I think labelling something just because it is a biscuit or a fish and chips, that it is therefore bad. It is, again, it's a simplification. I make my own ice cream, which takes me about 10 minutes. It's in the back of, if you want the recipe, you can get it out of Barry Groves' Natural Health and Weight Loss book. But literally, it takes you 10 minutes. You cream, eggs, a bit of, if you want to use stevia, or if you don't use sugar, it's not ideal, but or honey or something. Whack that up, freeze it. It takes you 10 minutes to make it, 6 hours to freeze it. And that is good quality. There's minimal kind of carbs, good quality fats, good quality proteins. None of it's kind of cooked and processed and refined and stuff. There's no trans fats. There's no large amounts of sugar and stuff. So and I really like sitting and tucking down into some kind of like homemade ice cream and stuff. I think it's always a danger of kind of like oversimplifying. There's a question on kind of carb loading and stuff like that, which I don't really want to go into now, just from a time perspective, Woody, pal. But I think what I'll do is I'll try and answer that on the blog if that's okay. I think if there's any other kind of questions, we're kind of approaching time. Let me just try and find one more, guys. Sorry, just really one sec. Yeah, right. No, this is a good question. So from Glenn, awesome question. But he said Glenn asks about the cost of healthy food compared to rubbish food is a major factor in the food choices that people make. Mate, I think you've hit the nail on the head right there. Generally, when as exercise professional, nutritional people, health and lifestyle people, we talk about healthy food, and we say, oh, you need to eat healthy food because it's much better for you, etc., etc. But and we kind of name drop and we go, yeah, organic food. And as soon as you say that to people just go, brilliant. I can't afford to spend £18 on an organic chicken, which will feed my family for one meal, whereas I can go and get, 2 battery chickens for £5, that will feed them for 2 meals. So you've got to kind of look at that and go from a cost perspective. And from it's about kind of economics, yeah, and obviously the better the quality of the food, generally the more that costs. I don't think there's any way around that, guys. Okay, I think that is the way that it is. However, there is one or two really important kind of factors that can be considered. You can still buy fresh, natural food at a relatively cheap price. Okay, yes, it might not be organic, okay, but at least it is fresh. At least you can cook it, prepare it yourself, you know, and you still are not obviously getting processed, refined, ready-made food, you know, microwave meals and these types of things that are obviously are full of, you know, all hidden kind of nasties and stuff. I think that if we're working with people that are obviously on a budget, which, let's face it, you know, a lot of people are, then we should be encouraging them to still be seeking better sources of food, you know, from you know, kind of better places than you know, the discount ready meals in a supermarket. You know, why not you know, get them out? You know, it's still, you know, whether they're going to go to a supermarket or actually, you know, interesting if they do want to make it a slightly better kind of food choice, but they are on a bit of a limited budget, I would still be really encouraging them to go to like their farm shops and their greengrocers and their kind of local producers outside of a supermarket, because if you pay like for like, you know, moderate to good quality foods in a supermarket, and then you go to like a small supplier, and especially if you pay for the quality stuff like organic kind of food in supermarket stuff, I will guarantee you, hands down, that you will pay more in the supermarket for good quality food than what you will if you go to a smaller supplier, because obviously supermarkets know that people will pay better quality and stuff, and they hike their prices up like for it and stuff. And I've done price comparisons with students where we've gone and got a list of foods. We've gone to a supermarket, and we've gone to a greengrocers and a butcher's, and we've compared the prices. And admittedly, yes, if you go for the cheapest, lowest quality stuff, then the supermarkets are cheaper. But if you go for like mid or higher qualities and stuff, then the supermarkets come out as more expensive. So that's something that's definitely worth thinking about. But I think like the original question, you know, is about it's about kind of cheap foods. And you know, you can, you know, me personally, if I'm working with someone who is on the breadline, let's kind of say, you know, I would still be encouraging them to go and buy poorer quality food that is fresh, you know, that is still, you know, all the ingredients that they can then at least make themselves and sit down and kind of eat that, you know, I don't know, like a roast dinner, for example, rather than going and buying, you know, a pre-packaged roast dinner that they can just put in the kind of the thing and heat. Glenn, I think it comes down to education as well, pal. You know, if you don't know how to cook a lot of the stuff, then you're really in a bad position, because you don't know how to cook it and you haven't got the money to buy the good stuff. You know, that's the money factor isn't obviously something that we can really kind of help people with, apart from maybe just trying to direct them to better places. If you look at the education side of it, then I think that is something that we can help with. You know, Jamie Oliver, 15-minute meals, all that type of stuff. You know, I really push my clients towards that, because I think that's a really interesting kind of thing to go down. So I think that's probably about all we've got time for, guys. Just trying to flick through and to see if I can have any kind of stuff. There's just one there from David about just looking at so confused about carbs in every meal, but now saying to limit such carbs. Yeah, absolutely, pal. You know, not for 1 minute would I say, you know, cut carbs out completely. Carbohydrates have to be consumed. You know, otherwise people are going to go ketoacidotic. That's not too great. So by all means, we need to be eating carbs. We don't need to be, you know, I don't think we should be eating carbs solely on their own. I don't think we should be eating massive amounts of carbs, especially starchy carbohydrates. So if I maybe give you an example, for snacks, let's say, you know, have an apple, and have some cheese, you know, with that. So like, you know, fruit and cheese, or some nuts and some fruit, that type of stuff. You know, for your kind of evening meal, if you were going to have, I don't know, what am I having tonight? Chili con carne. Okay, so chili con carne tonight. So you know, I'm gonna have you know, a small kind of handful of rice, and then a big handful of meat, and then probably a bigger handful of cheese on top of that. So the idea is that you're able to limit the amount of let's say starchy carbohydrates that you're eating, but you're still eating them. Okay, I think if we go down the route of eating like no carbohydrates at all, then people are gonna have problems with that, and they're gonna kind of have issues with that. So I think that's probably all we've got time for, guys. What I'm going to do is just stop recording in a minute and then end the session. So I'd just like to say thank you very much for obviously coming along today, guys. I really hope to see you again in the future on other kind of courses and on more kind of like webinars and stuff, and hopefully a few of you may have kind of added on Facebook and stuff. And by all means, I'm really interested in doing that. Look out for the blog. Okay, I'll put this recording up on the blog. There's loads of questions, guys, that I haven't been able to get through. It's really good to see loads of people are doing that. I will get through as many of those questions as possible, guys, and put them up on the blog. If it's not done today, it will be definitely by the end of the week. Okay, so guys, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've been able to take away a few things, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future. Goodbye.